Alrighty, everybody, welcome to the stream. I'm your host for today, Redner Dad, and we're going to be starting off with a little bit different topic right now. We're going to be talking about something that I have been playing around with for a number of years now, and this uh, WoW private server sector. And if any of you are familiar with the channel, you know that I've done some videos on Project Ascension, Turtle WoW, things like that. And so this other server that I had been a part of for a little less than a year or so in 2022 before they closed down. Um, it's called Duskhaven. I really enjoyed playing on that server. Um, it's what was known as Vanilla Plus because they made changes to the core bits and pieces of what WoW Classic was. So some changes to like classes, how they operated, some content changes and additions as well. So there it was a really promising server. In that space, it was running about as popular as a standard WoW Classic server at the time. So you're thinking, maybe 1,000 to 2,000 people concurrently at any given time, which is a very healthy rate for a server to be. That gives you a really well-based economy. You get enough people to group and do dungeons and raids and PvP. And so it was really promising the way that they were working their servers and really getting people to get engaged with kind of what they were doing on their private server sector. And so I wanted to take a moment because I've been following their journey, and um, they are really working hard behind the scenes to create a well-rounded vanilla plus experience for people. And so if you're interested in content like this where it's familiar, it feels good, it's not buggy or anything like that, but you have fresh content and you're looking at WoW Classic through a fresh set of eyes. Um, I feel like this has potential. And what we're talking about is Duskhaven Reforged. And so they've come out with a big update for the progress of what's going on right now with the server. I want to talk a little bit about that and a little bit about my thoughts as to where um, potentially this could go and my hopes for what the server might be. But with that, let's take a look at their trailer. So this is the trailer that they just released, kind of talking a little bit about what they're envisioning as far as the server goes. And so we'll take a look here live.
After the cataclysmic doomsday consumed the realm our heroes once cherished, they found refuge through the bronze dragonflight, leading them into a mystical new timeline. This world...
Okay, so right off the bat, bronze dragonflight, time travel, multiverse, that sort of thing. So, um, I mean, that is a very good method to segue into an alternate realm for classic WoW. I think it's a smart move. It's something that is familiar enough to where you can make the changes that you want without having it to be like a completely brand new game. It'll still act and feel somewhat familiar, but with possibly some new stories, some new locations, new friends, allies, that sort of thing. So I'll be interested to see.
world is a mystical reflection of days long past.
Wait a minute. So if it's New Northshire, why are there orc buildings? So has the orc invaded like the Northshire area? Have they taken over Stormwind? Is Stormwind a thing now? So that's an interesting kind of look at things. Or is it cross faction? Like, are the Horde and the Alliance working together?
Breeze, every sound holds a trace of familiarity, yet is subtly distorted. faces they once knew, now clouded by the veil of this timeline, look back with unfamiliar eyes. Landscapes that echo old.
See, that just looks cool. Like, even if it was just an updated model that looks like this, I think that's really cool. But there are definitely some newer, different style buildings in here. So Goldshire is kind of a little bit more upbeat than the original one in Classic right now, it looks like.
Tales stand side by side, with towns and structures singing songs of a different history. Amidst this landscape of memories and mysteries, ancient rivalries rekindle. The call to arms resounds as factions redraw old battle lines.
Oh shit. So that's like a full-on like bastion right there. Like what's going on over here? So if there is a new, outpost in Granos, who or what is invading the Ironforge? Because that's a pretty powerful stuff. Like,
a pivotal question looms. Can they usher in peace, healing the scars of this splintered Azeroth?
so this was just a quest hub too,
memories
I never did a horde that much, and so like I do recall this being like a like 15 to 20 zone where you quest in and then you kill a guy, like a named guy or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but I can't remember the faction. It might have been like the sort of pirate faction, I think.
Uncharted challenges. Will our heroes stand tall, unyielding in their resolve? Or will they be overwhelmed by the encroaching void of the infinite?
Wow, that's really cool. So I wonder if this will be like a quest hub in a new city. Seeing as that there's like a statue, that's somebody that's prominent in that particular storyline that didn't exist before.
Their future and the very weave of fate lie precariously in their hands.
Okay. So that's really cool. There's some interesting things in that video. Obviously, like the time walking, time skipping, multiverse kind of thing that you get from the Bronze Dragonflight. The I like the idea of being able to start an alternate story within Classic WoW. So that's gonna play a lot into how they can actually build new quest lines, maybe even potentially new players, new characters that we haven't seen before, or maybe some that just we know of in like the books and the series that just never made it to the video game. And so like there's some opportunity there, I think, where you can build something really cool. So I'm my interest is piqued for sure. But then they released the prologue, and the prologue goes into a little bit greater detail as to why we're seeing it. And so I'm not going to read through all of this. I made some notes on here just to get an idea of where I think this might be going, and like some of the things that might be different from WoW Classic. But just right off the bat, it starts with following a couple of different people, an orc paladin and a dwarf monk. And so to me, that means that they're starting WoW Classic off with the potential of having playable races and characters that we never had before in WoW Classic, which I think is awesome because, paladins exist, and paladins existed in Classic WoW at the advent of TBC, and so why not just like throw them in? if the storyline makes sense, I can see that happening. I know that the original WoW they didn't even think to have that because they wanted that level of separation between Horde and Alliance, but they're carving their own story now with the alternate timeline. Then this gives them an opportunity to build a new universe essentially. So we look at that, and then we look at the monk. There's also a Draenei mage. So I don't know how this is gonna play into it because it was a whole different story that originally what we looked at in WoW Classic, where the Draenei came to Azeroth from a different planet, essentially. And so if Draenei are in this story, is it part of the backstory of the original like timeline where we've already passed TBC, past Wrath, and we're and some sort of cataclysmic event has happened? So like I'm not sure. They also point out that Varian and Thrall are in power at the time, and they seem to be working more together than against each other. So potentially some cross faction play, cross faction grouping. I don't know for sure, but there's definitely something in that. The other thing too is just that with Caverns of Time comes, you know, all of the different instances that came with that. So, Mount Hyjal, Old Hillsbrad, things like that. So will those be kind of rolling into this space and not being like Old Hillsbrad, but being just actually Hillsbrad, like so. Um, and then with Chromie and the Bronze Dragonfly, obviously like time walking, multiversal travel, that sort of thing is happening right now. Which again, I think it just leads to like a really cool way to introduce new stories, new quests, and potentially some new areas as well. But if you read through all this stuff, it's a really good synopsis of the cataclysmic event that starts all of these things to happen. And so yeah, so we're doing World of Warcraft Multiverse of Madness now, which is awesome. So kudos to the Duskhaven team, and to their writer. He's listed here, he or she. Um, Go to duskhaven.net, get to their Discord server, join their Discord server, get signed up for notifications on this. You're gonna want to know like what happens with this. The team behind the actual building of the server and making the game is a really solid team. Um, and I think that you'll find that there's a lot of really good stuff that will come out of this. So this is my thoughts. Again, see for yourself. I wish that you guys could have seen, if you didn't already see the server when before it was happening, but it was it was a really well built server, and at the time at its height, it was operating really really smoothly. And so again, join us on Discord, and we'll see how it goes. And thanks for tuning in. Talk to you later.